Hey there, this is Pastor Micah from Life's Journey United Church of Christ. I hope all of you are finding light and joy during this holy season of Advent, a time we remember the ways in which Christ comes into our lives, not just at his birth, which we celebrate at Christmas, nor just at his coming to bring us home in the end, which we remember during Advent, but also each day and every day. My fiance, Paula, and me just got up our Christmas decorations here at my place after having had to put it off due to plumbing and sewage issues at her own house. And we've had to make some changes in our Christmas plans because of this. But the joy we felt last night decorating, in the midst of juggling those other issues, reminded me of the many ways so many of us face challenges and struggles. And how this season we are going through of Advent is about how, both in days of darkness as well as our days of joy and light, Christ's light always shines. As I shared in my update to begin the week, in his book, Here and Now Life in the Spirit, Henry Nouwen describes a friend of his who helped him keep his eyes on this Advent light. My friend's joy is contagious, Nouwen wrote. The more I am with him, the more I catch glimpse upon glimpse of the sun shining through the clouds. Yes, I know there is a sun, even though the skies are covered with clouds. While my friend always spoke about the sun, I kept speaking about the clouds until one day I realized that it was the sun that allowed me to see the clouds. Those who keep speaking about the sun while walking under a cloudy sky are messengers of hope, true saints of our day. This past Sunday, we remembered the darkness and struggle we face by remembering Ezekiel's vision of a valley of dry bones. We explored the ways in which our lives can resemble such valleys and how the promise of Advent, as well as the promise of Christmas, is a reminder such moments such moments that it does not all depend on us, which is often how we feel. But instead, we are invited to recognize we are held and carried, able to lean on the strength and grace, the strength and grace God makes available to all of us. This coming week, we're going to be reflecting on one of the prophecies the writer of Isaiah had, which point toward how God's coming can help us when we feel exhausted and worn down, in need of strength beyond our own, like famished or parched people in a dry land. As I think about what reminder we might need as we continue this Advent journey, with these reflections in mind, I'm reminded of the words Richard Rohr shared in his book, Yes and, which I'm reading on and off in my daily devotions. Richard Rohr says, God always entices you through love. You were probably taught that God would love you if and when you changed. In fact, God loves you so that you can change. What empowers change, what makes you desirous of change, is the experience of love and acceptance itself. This is the engine of change. If the mystics say that, they say it a thousand ways. But because most of you've been given an inferior message, that God loves you when you change, moralism, you miss it. That puts it all back on you, which is the opposite of being saved. That inferior message leads you back to navel gazing. So you feel you can never succeed at that level. You feel never holy enough, pure enough, refined enough, or loving enough. Whereas, when you fall into God's grace, When you fall into God's generosity, you find, seemingly from nowhere, this capacity to change. And no one is more surprised than you are. You know it is a total gift. Because of this, he continues on elsewhere, saying this: Jesus commanded us to love. So we know that love is not just a feeling. Since we cannot command feelings, love is mostly a decision. Jesus did not say, when you get healed, love; when you grow up, love; when you feel loving, love; when you get it together and have dealt with all your mother or father or husband or children wounds, then you must love. No, the commandment for all of us is to love now, and thus fill the tragic gaps of every moment. I know we know the love of God much more. I think we know the love of God much more when we ourselves can do love than when people tell us we are lovable. That just feels good. We can always disbelieve the second, but the first is an unexplainable power from beyond ourselves, working from within. We know we are being used, and the living water is flowing through us. This reality is the gift and the call of the season of Advent, the celebration of Christmas. Many of us are facing situations where we know if it depends alone, we can't make it. We are just worn too thin. We are too exhausted. We are too shaken and battered. Yet God promises, if we can but open our hearts and eyes, we can realize that in each moment, in each situation we face, Hildegard of Bingen's ancient words are still true. Her words are this: the mystery of God embraces you in its all encompassing arms. This is not just sometimes true, it is always true. You are held, cared for, and lifted high. You are not alone. Not now, not ever. The goodness, the love, the compassion you are made to show, this light you are called to shine, is not yours alone, but comes as you learn to rest in that love and let that love and light flow through you. It is God's love and light working in and through us. As you relax more into knowing you are one who is to God as God said Jesus was to God at Jesus' baptism, one whom God loves, and one in whom God delights, in whom God is already well pleased, just as you are. For you are a precious gift, work of art. May we rediscover this Advent season how to rest